Welcome to the Full-Time FBA Show. In each episode, it's our goal to help you turn part-time hours into a full-time income selling almost anything on Amazon. And now, your hosts of the show, Stephen and Rebecca Smotherman.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode number 250 of the Full-Time FBA Show. I love a round number. That's a good one.
Ooh.
Was that a woohoo?
That was an attempt at a woohoo.
Okay. Well, today's episode is going to be about why you need to be an Amazon athlete to find success with FBA. I was going to introduce Stephen, but he's already introduced himself with his woohoo.
I'm sorry, I do not have the skills to make my voice do like a legit woo or anything like that.
Okay,
and so it's pretty pathetic.
This is the long-standing argument. This is probably one of the biggest arguments of our marriage. The way that Stephen woohoos.
I wouldn't call it an argument because I agree with her. My woos stink.
They do. Okay,
Yes.
Anyway, y'all don't need to hear this. So we'll get into the episode, why you need to be an Amazon athlete to find success with FBA.
Woo!
Well, before we get into the meat of our discussion today, I want to remind you that we have a newsletter at Fulltime FBA, and we would love for you to be subscribed to it. Check it out at fulltimefba.com. You will get the latest news on the podcast, updates about upcoming trainings, and you will be the first to know about new products and services from Fulltime FBA. In fact, the day this podcast drops, we are starting our latest Amazon Income Accelerator workshop. So if you're listening when this episode releases, be sure you join us at 7 p.m. each night this week. You can sign up at fulltimefba.com/workshop to get the link to join the session each day. We'll talk a bit more about it later in the episode, but for now, let's get into our topic, why you need to be an Amazon athlete to find success with FBA.
So we're talking about being an Amazon athlete, partly because it's a really good analogy that works well for Amazon sellers, and that it fits right in with the workshop that we're starting this week. But also when this episode drops, it's just a few days away from the 2024 Summer Olympics in Paris.
Yay! The Olympics are so fun to watch. I really love watching gymnastics especially, and I will say that in preparation for this episode, I did watch a lot of videos of Simone Biles. It was totally work-related.
Yes, we'll call it work-related. That works.
Okay. So what is your favorite?
I mean, gymnastics is awesome, but I love the track and field, all the running and jumping and the races. I love that. Before it was removed from the Olympics, I loved watching the baseball games that were Olympic related. But yeah, track and field, that's my go-to.
Okay. It's just amazing to me what these athletes are able to do, the feats that they can accomplish. And it takes a lot of hard work to get where they are, but there's also a lot more that goes into becoming an Olympic athlete than just working hard. Mm-hmm. I mean, if that's all it took, then any of us who work hard could get there, right? Like, I just have to work hard enough.
Yeah, that's missing out a little bit.
So let's talk a bit about being an Amazon athlete. You can probably see a bit where we're going to be going with this. But is it just hard work that will help you succeed at Amazon, or what else does it take to become an Amazon athlete?
Yeah, a lot of what we're going to talk about for the rest of this episode is going to relate to your mindset, how you view the work that you're doing, how you view your own success. And so on that note, the first thing that you want to consider as an Amazon athlete is that you need to know yourself and know your event or your sport. Think about the track and field athletes. They pick a distance or an event and they work towards that specific event. A runner typically isn't going to try to master all of the distances that have events at a track meet. They're going to pick, a short sprint, a fast distance, or a longer one that's more about endurance. They'll pick whether they're running for themselves or part of a relay team. And then they work towards that goal accordingly. A marathon runner is going to have a different training plan than a sprinter is going to have. The same goes for us as Amazon sellers. We need to know ourselves and know our business in the same way that an athlete knows their sport. You need to know whether or not you're going to be focusing on private label or arbitrage. Both can be valid options, methods of selling on Amazon, but they require different skills, different business plans, and so on. At Full-Time FBA, we focus on arbitrage, so we don't spend any time learning skills to be better at private label, and we don't worry about that. We focus on arbitrage. We might vary our sourcing between wholesale arbitrage, retail arbitrage, online arbitrage, depending on the season or some other factors, but all those are variations of the arbitrage method. We focus all our learning and our practice on that sport as an Amazon athlete, if you will.
Riffing off of what you're saying, Stephen, I would say the next way you can be an Amazon athlete and find success in your FBA business is to have a training plan, to have a schedule, to have a process that you're following day in and day out. Let's switch sports for a second and talk about swimming as another example. An Olympic caliber swimmer is going to do more than just go out and haphazardly swim laps a few times a week when they get around to it. They're going to have a regular schedule. They're going to prioritize that schedule over the other things going on in their life. They'll plan their training schedule first and then plan other activities around it. So they'll have a plan for strength training, a plan for conditioning, for practicing the different strokes, a plan for nutrition. They even have plans for practicing their breathing and, get this, their mindset. Mm-hmm. Every aspect of improving as a swimmer is included in their training plans. So let's apply that to becoming an Amazon athlete. You can't haphazardly work a little here and there on your FBA business and expect to make any kind of progress, and more specifically, to make any kind of profits. You have to have a training plan. You have to make a schedule and do your best to stick to that schedule. I know we all have things that come up that can interfere with our schedule. That's called life. I mean, we're dealing with COVID in our house, 2024, and we're dealing with COVID in our house this week. But you have to plan out your time to build your business and then plan your other activities in life around that, or deal with the other things going on in your life around that. And it has to go beyond just putting a 3-hour block of time on your calendar and labeling it work on FBA business. You have to have plans for improving your sourcing, plans for improving your pricing, plans for dealing with your back-end seller central tasks, plans for budgeting, how to use different tools that you use. The list goes on and on. Hopefully your takeaway here is you need a plan. Some of you will want more detailed plans than others, just by personality, but those who are successful at building a business do so with plans.
Absolutely. And along the same lines, a good Olympic athlete is coachable, and so is an Amazon athlete. I don't know if it's possible to become a serious athlete without having a coach along the way. The greatest players in all sports, they have coaches still. Maybe there's someone out there who just became successful at their sport and was able to win competitions without a coach, but I kind of doubt it. I mean, coaches show athletes how to implement those training plans that Rebecca was just talking about. And ideally, a coach is someone who's played that sport successfully and can show the way. Although that wasn't the case for Ted Lasso. I mean, did any of our listeners watch and love it as much as we did?
Ooh, new episode idea. Ted Lasso quotes for Amazon sellers.
Okay, so you get the idea. Work on that and we'll get to it later. Back to what I was saying. A competitive athlete is going to be coachable. They're going to look for a coach who has the skill set and the experience and the mindset to help give them the skills to achieve their goals. They're going to look for someone who can give them direction, give them advice, give them motivation. And of course, the same things are true for an Amazon athlete. You want to be successful at your FBA business? You need to be coachable. You need to be willing to learn. You need to be able to seek out coaching from someone who's more experienced than you, has a different perspective than you. And this is something that Rebecca and I have both gone through in the course of our FBA businesses and in other aspects of business too.
Yeah, at one point I had a writing coach because I was interested in growing as a writer. I'm saying R-I-T-E-R, not riding like horses. I had a writing coach.
Exactly. And we even have a business coach right now. We've had various coaches earlier in our businesses, and this is all part of having a growth mindset. Knowing that you need to grow and improve and have someone show up and show you the ropes, can give you some direction, will help speed up that process. Now, you can watch 100 videos on YouTube about being a better swimmer, but it's much better to get in the pool and have a coach stand from the sidelines, telling you where to go, what to improve, what to try next. And we offer this type of coaching with our full-time FBA coaching program. We have both group coaching and one-on-one coaching options, and both are really useful to help jumpstart your Amazon FBA business. You can shorten your learning curve by having us coach you in your FBA business, and you can learn so much more by joining our live coaching calls than just by watching these coaching videos on YouTube. And we'd love to have you inside the Full-Time FBA coaching program, so check out fulltimefba.com/coaching to see if you're a good fit.
Okay, now let's get back to using the example of running a race as our analogy. We've talked about this before on the podcast and in our courses, but a successful FBA seller has a marathon mindset, not a sprint mindset. Now, this is different from what we were talking about earlier in this episode with knowing your sport and training accordingly. I'm not saying that sprinters are bad. You don't want to be a sprinter. I'm saying that training for a marathon is different than training to run 100 meters as fast as you can. Both of those events have amazing, talented, hardworking athletes in them, but their training process is going to be different. And you just need to understand that building a successful Amazon business is more like running a marathon than running a sprint. You will need endurance. You need to pace yourself so you don't hit a wall or burn out. You need to plan for mile 3, mile 10, mile 20. Most people who are wanting to be truly successful at FBA aren't looking to do it for 3 months and then be done. You're not going to accomplish much towards your financial goals in just 3 months of selling on Amazon. But if you want to achieve long-term success and build up your stability over several years through Amazon, you will need that marathon mindset.
And one last thing you need to do in order to become the awesome Amazon athlete that I know you can be, you need to schedule rest into your calendar. You do. You need to plan your rest. This may sound counterintuitive if you're wanting to work hard at building a business, taking breaks, resting, but it's absolutely essential if you want to have endurance and build a long-term successful business. Every athlete schedules rest days. They plan when they're going to take time off from exercise, from strength training, from practicing their sport. And it's not like they're just goofing off and being a slacker on those days. Those rest days are important for their training schedule to give their body time to recover from all of the hard work that they're putting into their progress. So the same goes for building your Amazon business. You need to schedule times of rest so that your brain has a chance to focus on something different and get some relaxation and get recharged for the next week of work. You need to spend time with your loved ones, your friends, your family. Do something fun, spend some time outdoors, whatever it is that you find restful. Over the long haul, your business is going to profit more if you take some time to rest on a regular basis.
So those are the ways you can be an Amazon athlete and build a successful FBA business. Know yourself in your sport, have a training plan, be coachable, have a marathon mindset, and schedule your rest days. Like we said at the top of the show, we're starting our latest Amazon Income Accelerator workshop the day that this episode drops, Monday, July 22nd. We're going to start at 7 p.m. Central. We would love to have you join us. You can sign up at fulltimefba.com/workshop. And this time around, we're focusing on boosting your side hustle. So if you're wanting to build up a sustainable side hustle that will generate predictable income for you and give your finances the stability and certainty you're looking for, be sure and join us for this workshop. If that doesn't describe you, you're still going to learn a lot, so join us anyway.
Yes.
We'll be meeting live every evening this week on Zoom. You can sign up at fulltimefba.com/workshop. Make sure that you get the workbook so that you can learn along with us, fulltimefba.com/workbook.
And if you already know that you want to find out more about our coaching program because you know that you're ready to be an Amazon athlete, you're going to need to be coachable. So check out fulltimefba.com/coaching and see if you're a good fit for our program.
Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of the Full-Time FBA Show. As a reminder, you'll find the links that we mentioned as well as the show notes for this episode at fulltimefba.com/250 because this is episode number 250.
And next week on the show, we're going to talk about how Amazon FBA can create certainty in an uncertain business world. And we'll break that down for you next week on the Full-Time FBA Show.
That's all for this episode of the Full-Time FBA Show. So head over to fulltimefba.com/podcast, where you'll find the show notes and links from this episode. While you're there, subscribe to our newsletter where you'll get several free downloads of our popular and helpful Amazon FBA resources. Now, take action on what you've learned today so you can find success at turning part-time hours into a full-time income with Amazon FBA.